My name's Steve Ragan, and I'm with Southwest Solutions in Detroit. And can I ask, how many people here are familiar with Southwest Solutions? Well, that's actually pretty good. We're Detroit's largest comprehensive anti-poverty organization, but I think sometimes we're an incredibly well-kept secret. Often when I introduce myself, people think that I work for a Phoenix-based IT company. So I thought I'd take a little bit of time today and tell you a little bit about, give you a little bit of context about our work and what's worked for us and some of the experiences that we've had with clients. So we were founded in 1970 as a community mental health agency, and we've grown dramatically since then into a comprehensive social services organization with annual revenue of $47 million and 472 employees focused on counseling, housing development, and economic solutions. We serve more than 20,000 individuals each year. Our core business began as a community mental health organization, but we quickly, as we began to serve individuals, realized that the question wasn't just about wellness of people, that it became a question of wellness of place also, and the environment that people were living and working in. And that gradually led us to expand into other areas, like developing housing for the people we served, and then developing job training and financial literacy programs for them, so that they could afford to live in the houses we were developing. We've also expanded to become one of the city's, we're actually the City of Detroit's largest provider of services for the homeless and veterans. We operate the Detroit's Housing Resource Center. In the last decade, we've placed more than 1,700 homeless persons into housing. And we actively manage about 1,000 affordable housing rental units with a little over 2,000 people living in them. A big part of our philosophy has been that we can't do any of these things without a comprehensive approach. I think that's probably the biggest lesson to take from our work, is that our success is hinged around the idea that we serve individuals comprehensively and that they can come into us from any one of our programs. But it wasn't long before we realized that there was also an important education mission. And today we've expanded to serve 7,700 DPS students through community school programs that we manage, through our Thrive by 5 collaborative, 1,500 preschoolers, and 1,300 adults in adult literacy programs. But those programs include everything from Head Start to community schools to GED and English as a second language and adult basic education, which is really the cornerstone of our workforce readiness programs. And in all of these cases, we link that work to our supportive services. And that's a real sort of, if there's anything that we would consider our sort of secret sauce at Southwest Solutions, it's that there's a tight linkage to all of our supportive services. Housing development is now one of our biggest programs. We're now one of the 3 largest nonprofit developers of affordable housing in the state of Michigan. And we do this, and we develop housing as well as helping people through financial counseling and home buyer programs. We're actually the largest provider of financial coaching and home buyer programs in the city of Detroit. In fact, last year, 10% of the mortgages issued in the city of Detroit came through one of our programs. Just to give you an idea of scale, we've developed 725 units of affordable housing, restored 25 multi-story historic buildings, and rehabbed 500 units of single-family REO properties. But and one of the programs that we're most proud of right now, we recently launched the Building Detroit Futures program, which combines rehabbing houses with workforce development. So I think it's one of our really sort of our hallmark programs where we're seeing a lot of our work come together. We've also become a large provider of services to veterans. Our Paquette Square for veterans is a national model for providing supportive housing for formerly homeless veterans. And we've assisted over 2,300 veteran families avoid homelessness with short-term rental assistance. The newest program that we developed about 5 years ago, we realized that there was a huge gap in terms of developing, in terms of individual economic development. So we formed a subsidiary, Southwest Economic Solutions, and this is where all of our work around financial counseling and home buyer programs, as well as workforce development, is housed. We've had over 2,400 individuals complete workforce development programs. 1,300 individuals go through financial coaching, and a really great program, Prosper Us, is an urban entrepreneur program, the largest in the city. We've had 700 individuals go through that program, and that's spun off over 120 businesses and small businesses in Detroit. In fact, I don't know, some of you might have, if you've been to Detroit, you might have visited Sister Pie, a phenomenal bakery that came out of that program. We've put over $600,000 in small business microloans into the community. And one of the things we're really proud of, the average credit score of those loans is 540. And to date, we've not had a single default in that program through really strong supportive services and coaching. We've also expanded into workforce development through programs like Earn and Learn and PATH. We've had a real focus on homeless veterans, young minority males, chronically unemployed, returning citizens, and welfare applicants and recipients. Earn and Learn has been our hallmark program we started about 5 years ago and deliver in partnership with Focus Hope. I think this was one of the things that was really unique about this is we partnered with both the state of Michigan as well as private foundations to fund this program. And it really addressed a lot of the gaps that we saw. We focused on the chronically unemployed, the formerly incarcerated, and in addition to, we provided a comprehensive work readiness program, including GED prep. And one of the things that's worked really well with this program is that we partner with technical providers. So we've been able to pivot really quickly to where there are high demand needs for job training. I'll share a few examples of this. So this is, I think, a really typical example of how this program has worked really well. Ricardo Beecham was a 40-year-old felon. He completed Earn and Learn training at Southwest Solutions. So by the time he completed the program, we knew that he was committed to making a change in his life. He'd gone through basic work readiness training, and then we partnered with Vehicles for Change, a new nonprofit here in Michigan. They'd expanded from the East Coast, and he entered training to be a mechanic. So as soon as he's almost done with the program, he'll earn $8.50 an hour. Well, actually, he earns $8.50 an hour for 40 hours a week while he's going through the program, setting aside money for his tools. So when he graduates, he'll start with a salary of about $35,000. So financial coaching, we've been at the center of homebuyer financial coaching and homebuyer programs in the city of Detroit. And like other speakers today, we provide a comprehensive financial coaching program. One of the programs that I think we've introduced recently in Michigan, I believe we were the first to introduce it here in Michigan, was lending circles. Is everyone familiar with the concept of lending circles? It's a social lending group coupled with financial education, and the results that we've had have been phenomenal. So a small group agrees to meet each month and put in $50 to $200 monthly that'll be loaned out to other members. Their performance in that loan gets reported to credit bureaus by a partner nonprofit organization. So to date, we've put out 56 loans totaling $61,500. Nationally, and we're seeing our early results are beginning to track with this, the default rates for lending circles average just 0.7%. And the average credit score, and typically the person who enters this has about a 550 credit rating, the average credit score improves by 165 points. Huge progress. And really, when you look at the scale of this program and the cost, incredibly cost effective for us. In the last 2 years, we've provided foreclosure prevention services to almost 300 households. We've helped 125 individuals maintain homes, also working through the Step Forward Assistance Program. Now, I think this gives you an idea of why this is so important. And Detroit's problem is, I think, greater than you'd see in a lot of cities. We've, for the very first time, renters have surpassed homeowners for the first time since 1950 in Detroit. So this has been a real priority for us. And just to give you again an idea of scale, we've now helped over 2,100 families become homeowners, including 171 in 2016. And as I mentioned, we were really proud of the fact that about 10% of all new mortgages in the city of Detroit came through one of our programs. This is one of we're sort of constantly working with the city of Detroit and the land bank to try and identify creative ways to move people towards home ownership. and also to address some of the real problems of blight and foreclosure in the city. And this, I think, is one of the programs that we've had some very quick success with that we're really proud of. The Occupied Buyback Program in Detroit. So Crystal Spears received an eviction notice because her landlord hadn't paid property taxes. She'd been paying her rent on time. And as you can imagine, she was distraught. She had children. She was afraid of losing her home. So we worked with the land bank, and we were able, by entering our financial counseling program, Crystal was able to purchase her home for $1,000. She set aside $100 a month in escrow over the next year to cover the tax bill. And at the end of that year, and at the completion of the financial literacy and homebuyer counseling programs, she received the deed to her home. So we were able to keep a person not only in their rental home, but convert them to a homeowner. But again, what we've experienced with all of these is that we've tried to tie these programs together. And here's another great example. Eric Corrales. He graduated from our Earn and Learn job training program in 2016. And right after that, he hired directly full-time into the food industry. Then he began working with our financial coaches. And after improving his credit, he enrolled in our home buyer program. So right now, he's working with us to qualify for the Community Home Fund, which could provide down payment assistance of up to $30,000. And that's a great kind of leveraging that we're trying to do with all of our programs. I mentioned Prosper Us, and I know we're a little tight on time, so I'll just say that this has been one of our most successful programs. We modeled it after a program that the Kresge Foundation brought to us from Minneapolis. And it's had, in the 3 or 4 years that we've been running this program, incredible success training and launching small businesses. 130 today have started or expanded their businesses. And as I mentioned, I think the latest, I just checked the stat, we're up to over $600,000 in microloans. We're actually right now working with banks to try and that we've got enough of a performance history on our microloan fund that we're talking about to banks about taking over that fund so that we can get more money out of the community. We think we can put out about $1.5 million in microloans to small businesses in Detroit that can perform successfully. And a lot of this is sort of organized around our theory of change. We believe that it's important to layer these services, and we identified sort of 7 game changers. I think you've got a copy of this in front of you. And we don't do all of these ourselves. I think you've got on the back of that a list of our partners, and we couldn't do this without linking to other partners. So we don't do food programs, and we don't do transit. We can't do everything, but we try whenever possible to link to partners that are in the community. And I just shared, sort of the lessons that we've learned. That problems are rarely singular. Housing, hunger, credit, education, employment, and health are all linked together. That a comprehensive approach with strong case management is absolutely necessary. That we can't just serve children, adults, and seniors. We've really got to be serving the whole spectrum. That we're seeing these that it's not enough to sort of say we're going to fix education or we're going to address workforce readiness. We've got to be working across the spectrum. That improvements are achieved faster and are more lasting when people take advantage of more than one of our services. So I just add a couple of other things as I wrap up that we've really got to address. We found this is critical to everything we're doing, low education attainment, particularly in the city of Detroit. And that out-of-work Michiganders increasingly receive little to no cash assistance. I think a couple of the speakers today have made that a point, and we think that's critical. Thank you.